So why did I choose cats over dogs as our pet? So back in 2003, we decided we wanted cats, and my reasons now are a little bit different. But back then, we decided to have cats instead of a dog. My husband had grown up with dogs, but I was a little afraid of dogs, so I really wanted a cat. And before we had gotten married, I had did some house sitting for a professor at my college who had a cat, and I stayed with the cat for a month. Now that cat wanted nothing to do with me, but I had to let it out the window every evening for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes. But it seemed like a nice enough cat, even though I didn't want to spend time with me. So I felt like cats are easier than dogs. And my husband had grown up with dogs, so he knew a lot more about dogs. But I was also a little afraid of dogs because I had been bitten by a dog when I was 10. So that was kind of the main deciding factors. But then a friend offered us free kittens. And my feelings about free kittens have changed since then too. But at the time, it sounded like, well, why not have a free kitten? And we went to her house. She had barn kittens. And we went for one, and we came home with two. I do have some notes I made here. Make sure I'm not leaving anything out. Those were the main reasons. Oh, another thing was we did not have a fenced yard, and I wasn't sure about walking dogs. So I knew we just wouldn't be able to let the dog out quick because we didn't have a fenced yard. So that contributed to us getting kittens instead of a dog. So it was less work, perceived as less work, and we didn't have an optimal setup for dog in our yard. So we decided we would do kittens. Now it's been 21 years, and I've become a cat lady, and cats are my favorite, and I would still choose cats over dogs. So recently I was a pet sitter for my brother who has 3 dogs. He also has 2 cats. But I had to watch the 3 dogs closely. And I was there one night, and I still feel like cats are easier than dogs. Like the dogs seem like more work, even though they have like a really nice setup for their dogs. And his dogs are very well behaved. I still felt like cats are easier, even with the litter boxes and all that. And sometimes I feel like dogs are more like narcissists with all their barking, like, look at me, I'm a dog, bark, bark, bark. I need you to look at me immediately, which also happens when I walk through my neighborhood and dogs charge to the fence to bark at me, or they're hitting their windows, like, hi, I'm stuck in here, see me. Like, cats don't do that kind of stuff. So that was one reason that I like cats better than dogs. Let's see what else I wrote down. I think the other things are just like cats can be left unattended for longer. So if you have a job where you need to be away for a long time, I think cats are definitely easier. Like, I think it would be rare for a cat to have to be in a cage or a crate thing while you're away. Most cats are pretty well behaved, I think. I mean, based on my experience, which is limited to my cats, but I would say cats are easier than dogs. I already said that. But cats can just hang out when you're at work. Like, no worrying about putting them into a crate unless you have like a special situation. I think that's pretty uncommon for a cat. So cats are just easier. It also feels great when a cat chooses you. So sometimes cats, they don't like everybody, especially strangers. So it's awesome when a cat chooses you as their human. And this rock is taking me a little while to paint here. I'm trying to do like a sunset. We'll see how it comes out. I'll show you when I'm done. So I've been painting for a few years now. And a friend talked to me about painting rocks. She asked me if I wanted to do it because in the park here, people go out and leave painted rocks for other people to find. So it's kind of like a fun community activity. So we've painted some together, and now I've been painting them on my own, and I really like it. And they could also be like cute little gifts for somebody. And some of my rocks I had planned to give away or take to the park, and my husband said he wanted to keep them. So that's what we did. So anyway, back to the dogs and cats. Let's see. So I still think cats are less work than dogs. Hi, Nacho. Oh, there was Nacho, one of my cats. She saw the camera in here, turned around and left. So new things can be scary for cats. Maybe they're scary for dogs too. I'm not really sure. But they're definitely scary for some of my cats. So she left. So these rocks here, some of these here I'll be giving away in my new community. It's called The Joy of Cats, just like my YouTube channel name and my website name. And it's over on School, and you have a group of people over there that just love to talk about cats. And I provide posts and try to come up with topics that we can talk about. But right now, the only way to get some of my rocks that I've painted is in the community, because I'll be doing a giveaway in July. This is July 2024. And if you have cats and dogs, I would love to know which one you think is easier, because maybe there's more that I'm not considering, but I just feel like cats are less work. So cats, the main thing is feeding them, giving them some attention, and taking care of their litter box. So I thought this rock would take me less time, but I'm going to try to keep talking here about cats and dogs and their differences. Here's the progress I've made so far. So I like to put a cat on all my rocks. So sometimes I do 2, sometimes I do more. I haven't ever tried to do a dog. I suppose maybe I can do a dog, but I like cats. And I know how they say like dog is a man's best friend, that saying, but my cats are best friends too. Like some cats, are more aloof, but other cats, they want to be with their humans and spend time with them, and there is an emotional connection. So our cat that was like that the most was Buster, and he wanted a lot of attention, maybe just as much as a dog. And he would boop into us and ask us to pet him and that type of thing. And of course, cats purr as a sign of affection. that they're enjoying you. It's always a nice feeling the first time you hear a cat purr. So with Violet, she came from outside from the yard and we rescued her and her kittens. Anyway, she was pretty scared. She wasn't a feral cat. I think she was definitely like an abandoned cat. Guess that'd be a better way to describe her. I think she was abandoned by college students, most likely, when they moved out of a rental house down the street. And then the next renters were allergic to cats and didn't want anything to do with her or the kittens. When I found out that that's where the kittens came from. So when we brought her in, at first she mostly just avoided us. Like, she wasn't unfriendly. She wasn't really hissing at us. She just wanted to be left alone. And of course, she was still nursing the kittens a little bit, even though that we had her spayed before we brought her inside. I don't know if that's dry yet. But it took about 6 months before we got to hear Violet purr. And that was amazing. So how it worked was I would just give her space. And then there came a time where, you know, she'd be eating and she would just kind of walk by me and I would just pet her. I called it drive-by petting. And eventually one day she purred and it was amazing. And I think I had too much water in my brush. That's okay. See, I'm using acrylic paint, and the thing with that is almost every mistake you can make with paint, with acrylic paint, you can just let it dry and paint over it. So I'll probably have to let that dry and then paint over it a little bit. And the rocks is a little bit different. I'm trying to blend the colors right on here, but in the yellow, that's taking a little bit more paint to cover up than I had anticipated too. Anyway, cats are wonderful. I suppose even with dogs, sometimes you have to earn their trust, but I don't know. I think cats are just really special animals. And I would recommend you have a cat if you can have one. Just because they are so wonderful. But I know there's people that are huge dog lovers. Like, my brother prefers dogs to cats. But he does have cats because his daughters like the cats, so they have cats too. I also like that cats are quieter. Like, in general, a bark is going to be much louder than a little meow. And kind of sensitive to noises sometimes. So that's another reason. And did I write anything else down? Like, I love it when cats will sit on my lap. So the dogs I was the dog sitter for, they were kind of too big to be lap dogs. So there was 2 Great Danes and a blue heeler, and they were not allowed on the furniture unless you had a special blanket. Then they could be on the couch with you, but the dogs don't know me that well, so they didn't really try to get on my lap. They did cuddle with me, which was really sweet though. Like the Great Dane, the one would put its head in my lap, want to be snuggled. That was cute. But then, like, the dogs just kind of lay around the same way cats do. I was kind of surprised. Like, I would just watch Netflix and the dogs would just sit there and play with their toys or just relax, kind of like cats, only not cats. So, and I know some of it just depends on like what type of dog you have and what kind of cat too. There's lots of different kinds of cats. And I don't know if you can see them. You probably hear them. My cat Taco's right here now. Hopefully he doesn't try to jump over here. He might. So I had to readjust things to get it close enough to the camera for you to see me. But hopefully he'll sit there and be a good boy. Yeah, because I just told you how good cats are. Now, I think that would look nice with a little orange in it. Now, what makes orange? Red and yellow make orange. So if I take some of this red and put that in there, then I'll make that top transition a little orange. And sometimes I have glare here. Now, some people have cats and dogs together. My brother keeps his separate because my understanding is the Great Danes, like at least one of them is afraid of the cats. And they just feel more comfortable keeping them separate, just in case, especially with the dogs being so large. But I have another friend down the street. I think her cats and dogs are all together. So my main issue with dogs is they're more work. Like cats are more like a passive animal, I think, if that's the right word, because you don't have to actively take them outside for them to use the bathroom. They're just kind of there with you. Maybe I'll make this whole thing orange. But I also think that sometimes people get cats and then just kind of treat them like they're in the background. Just let them do their own thing and don't try to interact with them as much. And if you're interested in a cat, the cat will be more interested in you. It might take a while. Like an example of this is the outdoor cats that we feed. So when a pork chop first showed up, he was quite feral. And we got him fixed, but there was no touching him, no approaching him. And there was other cats out there at the same time. And over the years, I gotta tell you when, oh, it's too far deep in there. I have the TNR records are in that drawer right there. So we got him fixed in either 2017 or 2018. And now it's 2024. And now I can pet him when he wants to be petted. It's definitely only on his terms. So that's an example of a cat learning to trust. And I'm sure dogs sometimes have that same thing, but I'm definitely not a dog expert by any means because I like cats. And cats are my favorite. And sometimes people think that I don't like dogs because I have so many cats and no dogs. But I do like dogs now. Like I've gotten over my fear of them from my childhood incident of being bitten by a dog. But what was I saying? Got distracted with my painting. Oh yeah, I do like dogs. Dogs are okay. And I even have a picture of one of my brother's dogs on my wall. It's a nice little picture. And it is underneath the kitten art picture, but hey, I still have a picture of the dog on my wall as proof that I like dogs. And my other siblings have had dogs too. My sisters do not currently have dogs, but they have in the past, and their dogs were okay too. So it's not that I just say, hey, I don't like dogs. Dogs are fine. But I prefer cats as a pet. That's all I'm saying. So once I'm done painting this, I'll put polyurethane on it to coat it in case someone wants to put them outside. Like you can see how this one's like more shiny. And I have done like full-size paintings before, but the rocks are just kind of fun to do too. So I'm really glad my friend told me about the rock painting. She introduced me to that. So the thing with litter boxes is some people say I'll never have a litter box. But with dogs, like I think you have to pick up their poop. Like I see people in my neighborhood walking around with bags of poop. And is that really any better than taking 30 seconds to scoop a litter box? I know it's just personal preference sometimes, I think, but that just seems like more work to me. Of course, litter boxes you have to maintain and clean. Like they're just not like, oh, you get one and it's only ever 30 minutes of work or 30 seconds of work. You do have to refill them and take care of them and keep them clean. I'm just saying I'd rather do that than have to take out a dog every day. Like, I don't know how many times they go to the bathroom every day. A dog. So those were my reasons. If you have other reasons you've chosen a cat over a dog, you can just share in the comments. Or if you want to join my community called The Joy of Cats over on school.com, you can do that too. So I'm fine with people having, like, with dogs existing. Dogs can be cute too. Like, I don't want to start a dog versus cat battle. It's just sometimes people prefer one or the other, and I am one of the people that prefer cats. I mean, cats are definitely my favorite. And I also enjoy painting now too. So it's been nice to combine two hobbies together with cats and dogs. Oh, and you may have noticed I have a microphone now. So I'm testing out to see how much better the sound is. And someday soon I'll make an outdoor video too and see how that works out with the wind. And we have a busy highway near us that is sometimes loud, which you probably noticed if you've watched any of my other videos where I'm outside. So I'm hoping this microphone will help. It's like one of the cheaper models. So because my YouTube channel doesn't really make any money yet, maybe sometimes someone will buy something with one of my affiliate links. Thank you if that's been you. But until then, I have not invested a lot in equipment, and I mostly just record on my phone now. But this microphone, I think it was like $25 on Amazon, and I watched a lot of reviews, and it seemed like a good option. It's wireless, has like a little receiver thing that plugs into my phone. So for the price, I thought it was worth trying out. So hopefully you'll think that the sound is better too. And maybe my videos will sound more professional because I have a microphone. And someone told me I should smile more. It's not the first time I've heard that in my life. So I am also working on smiling more. So now I'm just trying to paint this so all sides are painted. After this dries, I will paint the bottom too. For now, I'm just trying to make it look good at the sides that people will actually be seeing. Like, I don't think the bottom needs to have colored paint because it's the bottom that no one's going to see. I think I need to paint down here a little bit, kind of wrap it around. And on the bottoms of the rocks that I'm giving away, I am also putting my website, thejoyofcats.com, so that people know where they came from. Let's get some more yellow down here. Yeah, this yellow is not covering up the rock that well, with the gray. But mixing it with the red, making it more orange, that did help. So I've only been painting a few years, and I've learned there's like different types of paint. Like sometimes there's something called cadmium in the paint, and not all paint covers like the same way. Like some paint is just thinner, so there might be like other yellow paint that would be covering this rock in one swipe. And I'm just using the paint I already have. So I have a mix from like Hobby Lobby and this Golden brand and another company over here. But you can also, for painting rocks, you can just use like the cheap acrylic paint like from Hobby Lobby that comes like in the bottles. I don't have an example right here. We have a bunch in the basement, but like you don't have to use professional grade acrylic paint. Like the cheap paint is fine. I just want someone to be able to see it. And then the cheap paint might not stay on as long. I don't really know how well the paint holds up outside. But I'm assuming if it's not coated, it will eventually come off. I think that looks better. And then I always put a cat on my rocks. It's kind of my thing because I like cats. And this one was a little different. I tried to put 2 cats on it. Like it just depends on the shape of the rock, what you can do with it. And what was I going to do down here? Oh, I think a little more pink. And purple is my favorite color, so I do use a lot of purple paint. And I mostly learned how to paint from watching YouTube tutorials. So if you want to start painting, you can do that too. And I did take a few classes at a local art center. Okay, now I just want to get this corner blended. Sometimes I just probably spend too much time fussing over the paint, but that's okay. I enjoy it. See now, look how much more yellow that is than when I first started. But I was just wondering now, the neighbor's dog is barking. I don't know what it's barking at. It likes to bark at the outdoor cats, but they're probably not out there right now because it's during the day. But maybe with this microphone, you won't be able to hear the neighbor's dog. And that's another thing about dogs. There's lots of different types of dogs. If the neighbor's dog is like, it's a small little thing, and it seems to bark at everything. But this dog does not bark as much stuff as their previous dogs they've had over there. but they tend to prefer the smaller dogs. And I know sometimes smaller dogs, it seems like they bark a lot. I don't know. I guess it's just experience I've had with the neighbor's dog is excessive barking sometimes. But the current dog is not quite as barky, which is nice. Like, if they didn't know the cats are out there, like, they would never even hear them. Like, once we got them all fixed, like, the cat bites stopped. So that's another thing about outdoor cats is if you're feeding them, you should definitely be getting them fixed. They'll behave better, and of course, there's the kitten overpopulation or cat overpopulation problem in the United States with so many unwanted cats and kittens. So if you can get outdoor cats fixed, that helps with the problem. You might not feel like you're doing much, but just getting one fixed, I mean, that helps. Everyone helps that gets fixed. If you think about how many cats or how many kittens a cat can have every year, let's say she has 4 kittens. Every time she has kittens, and that's 3 times a year, well, there's another 12 kittens that nobody wants. So it can be hard. And the shelters here are almost always full. We have a Humane Society, and there's also a couple other rescues. One's cat only. So do what you can to help, and make sure you get your pet cats fixed too. Now I keep redoing this section here. Sometimes that doesn't always work out, especially since I'm not letting it dry all the way. And once this is dry, we're going to put a cat on it somewhere. And I think I'm spending more time on this than normal because I'm talking at the same time and trying to say nice things about dogs, which I do. That's not fair. I do like dogs. I would just prefer cats. I think I went over everything on my list. So next time or some other time I'll tell you about things I've learned about cats that I didn't know until I had cats, but I don't think I have enough time with this rock. So we'll save that for another day. Things I didn't know about cats until I had a cat. That's kind of a big list. So we're just letting this dry. And I got out too much paint. I don't know if you can see that. Sometimes you might be better off just taking a little bit right out of the paint container. But this kind of blobbed out, so I have a whole bunch of black. So we'll do a black cat somewhere on this sunset. So let's decide where to put it. Now this one, I had started out, it was different. I didn't have as much, I don't know how to explain it. There was more orange than yellow, and it kind of looked like maybe the cat was in hell, which I didn't like. So I'm trying to make it look more like a sunset. And I guess it's just sitting on a cloud or a rock. You can call it whatever you would like. And then this one, this is cute. So we used to have more outdoor cats. We had Midnight, who was a black cat, and his best friend was Charcoal, who was gray. And they had both passed a couple years ago. But I still like to paint them into things. So Midnight is definitely an inspiration for the black cats. Now this one has a brown cat on it. I don't know if a cat can ever truly just be brown like this. But you can do whatever you want in art. So this is probably getting dry enough. So like this one, is a beach, like Midnight Went to the Beach. But then this one is just, you know, cat in the clouds, I suppose. You can use your imagination. I just think they're pretty. I like bright colors. So this is what it looks like before the cat's on it. Now I'm going to put a cat on there. I like doing silhouettes mostly because they're easy. So I'm back. I actually ran out of space on my phone when I was recording, so I'm going to clean up my videos, delete some. But here is the final rock. I just put a little cat on there. So thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I'll be back with another cat chat soon.